Being smart didn't save him from being broke. Alex woke up before sunrise every morning, convinced that starting early would finally put him ahead. He rushed through breakfast, grabbed his keys, and headed straight to work, believing that being busy was the same as being productive. His schedule was always packed, and he took pride in never having a moment to rest. Friends and family admired his commitment, assuming it meant success was just around the corner. Alex believed the same lie activity meant progress, yet he rarely questioned why his bank account never reflected his effort. That disconnect quietly followed him like a shadow. His workplace praised hustle, rewarding long hours more than actual results. Alex stayed late most evenings, buried in tasks that looked urgent but rarely led anywhere meaningful. He said yes to every request, afraid that saying no would make him seem lazy or ungrateful. The busier he became, the more people relied on him, but rarely in ways that increased his value or income. He believed that dedication would eventually be recognized. But days blurred into weeks, and recognition never came. Instead, exhaustion became his only reward. Outside of work, the cycle continued. Alex spent weekends running errands, fixing small problems, and helping others with their emergencies. He had no time for planning, skill building, or financial strategy. Busyness became a badge of honor, something he thought proved his worth. But despite his constant motion, nothing in his life truly moved forward. When he finally sat down at night, it felt read but not accomplished. Deep down, he wondered how someone busy from dawn to dusk could still feel stuck in place. Daniel convinced himself that being constantly busy meant he was moving forward, even though nothing in his life seemed to improve. His days started before sunrise and ended long after dark, filled with tasks that demanded energy but offered little reward. He believed that sacrificing sleep and personal time was the price successful people paid. Yet, no matter how many hours he worked, his bank account told a different story. Bills kept growing while progress stayed invisible. Co-workers praised his dedication, but no one questioned its effectiveness. Productivity became a mask that hid stagnation. Outside of work, Daniel's relationships began to weaken under the weight of his schedule. He declined social invitations, missing birthdays and family gatherings because he feared falling behind. His weekends turned into extra work days, not moments of rest. Even when he tried to relax, guilt followed him, whispering that he should be doing more. He struggled to remember the last time he felt truly present in his own life. The busier he became, the less control he felt. Eventually, he couldn't ignore the emptiness beneath his routine. At night, Daniel would sit at his kitchen table, staring at spreadsheets and unpaid bills. He realized that effort alone wasn't translating into progress. Hard work without direction was beginning to feel like a treadmill, constant motion with no forward journey. He started noticing colleagues who worked fewer hours, yet earned more. They invested energy into learning, networking, and skills rather than just tasks. That comparison planted a question he never considered before. What if being busy was not the same as being effective? The realization struck Daniel during a conversation with an older co-worker who had spent 30 years in the same cycle. The man spoke proudly about his dedication, but his voice trembled with fatigue. He confessed that despite decades of relentless effort, his savings were minimal and retirement felt uncertain. Daniel saw his own potential future reflected in that confession. It was a chilling reminder that busyness did not guarantee security. The story felt like a warning rather than wisdom. Daniel could no longer ignore the truth staring back at him. He began researching financial habits and productivity methods, leading him to concepts he had never considered. Instead of valuing hours worked, he learned to value results and strategy. He realized that learning new skills and diversifying income were more valuable than long workdays. The more he studied, the clearer his misconceptions became. Being busy had kept him comfortable but unprepared. It prevented him from seeking opportunities that could transform his situation. He understood that change required courage, not just effort. As Daniel slowly adjusted his habits, the emotional impact became undeniable. He felt equal parts anger for lost years and hope for the future. The transformation was not instant, but it was deliberate. He swapped overtime hours for learning sessions and financial planning. He set boundaries that protected his time and energy. For the first time, he felt control returning to his life. The shift from busyness to purpose became the beginning of real progress. Daniel eventually realized that Tim Notefer was his most valuable resource. Every hour spent without direction was an hour he could never reclaim. He learned that financial growth came from skill, strategy, and leverage, not exhaustion. Busy people often remain broke because they trade time for money instead of building value. Understanding this truth changed how he viewed work and success. He no longer worshipped busyness. He respected results. His journey proved that motion without purpose leads nowhere. With new habits and a new mindset, Daniel rebuilt his approach to life and career. He learned to prioritize tasks that created long-term benefit rather than temporary satisfaction. He focused on efficiency instead of hours. Slowly, his savings grew, opportunities appeared, and confidence returned. The transformation was difficult, but it was real and earned. If this story felt real to you, subscribe so you don't repeat this mistake.